on your back. Those of you who were here yesterday can just take a moment to sense back into the floor and what memories might have got left lying around since yesterday afternoon. Does the process of lying down trigger off some of those sensory memories, the echoes of the movements you were doing? So bring your arms and legs into an X position. Just softly so that your arms can rest on the floor. No, that's not right, is it? It wasn't an X, it was arms straight out. That looks much more comfortable already. X comes later in the day. Okay, soft fists, and just notice this morning, what's it like to roll your arms around their own axis, a little bit up, a little bit down. How much of you is joining in? Is there any echo of the connection through towards your feet? So maybe bend your knees, stand your feet. And begin to gently press into your feet as you roll your arms. So it's pressing and releasing, finding the connection, the movement traveling through from your feet into the upper part of your body in a way that allows you to roll your arms a little more easily. And then you might recall that as you roll your arms forward and downwards, you could do something with your head. Could begin to lift away from the floor a little bit. Just gently, slowly, pushing with the feet, helping you roll your arms up. The lifting of the head, helping you roll your arms down. Okay, and then pause, just let that settle for a moment. And then this time, could you roll your arms so that your right fist rolls upwards and your left fist rolls downwards? We have the capacity to differentiate our arms so that they can do independent and separate things. But the lesson's been about exploring the connections between parts of ourselves and through ourselves. So is there something that connects your arms in a way that makes sense of them going in opposite directions, but at the same time feels really nice. A pleasant sensation of twisting. And what happens to the rest of you? Is it just lying on the floor, or is there some way of including your ribs and your chest, and your feet and pelvis that feels like it belongs in the pattern of twisting your arms in opposite directions? Have your knees bent, feet standing. Okay, so at the moment the right hand's rolling up, left hand's rolling down. Can you feel the invitation or the suggestion for that movement to include more of you? Would you in fact move your legs in a different position or do something with them that made it easier for you to roll your arms? So experiment. Put on your Sherlock Holmes hat. Look for clues. Try different things. And then come up to sitting. Bring your arms with you and your head. And once again, have your arms out to the side. Do remember to rest them when you need to, or before you need to. And soft fists, and again, same direction. Right hand is rolling upwards, left hand is rolling downwards. What's the invitation to your head? Is there something that you could do with your head slowly so that you can sense which way does it make more sense to turn your head? Which hand might you look at that helps that movement? And then if you're not already doing it, could you deliberately turn to watch the right hand turn upwards? Let your head come back. And does it feel like you're doing three separate things, or does that feel like one movement where your arms roll and your head turns because they're connected together? And then in this configuration, what would your legs do that, again, could assist this movement? Can you think back to what you were starting to discover when you were lying down? Is there something with the tilting of your knees? Explore some different positions of your legs or different movements. And then maybe try sitting with your legs to the side. Start with your left foot back. Does that help? Swap them over, see if it's easier or less easy to the other side. You've still got the twist, the hands going in the opposite direction. Okay, and then come back to whichever you found easiest. And leave it. Lie on your back, rest for a moment. And then bring your arms out to the side. Do that same movement, right fist rolling upwards, left rolling down. Has anything changed? Has just those few minutes of inviting other parts to join in made a difference to what your system now can do easily? Did you learn something from those movements that we did sitting up or involving your legs, your head? Seems there's something that happens to us as we grow up and get our head full of all sorts of other stuff, that we forget to connect all the parts. We just use bits of ourselves. And so there's little reminders to join in to make a difference to the ease and quality of what we're doing as we go through the day. So what happens if you bend your left knee, stand your left foot? Is there a way that this can assist with the rolling of your arms, the twisting, should I say? And just notice where your foot landed. Did it land in a place that's optimal for supporting the movement? Or do you need to just check a few different spots with your foot? Where do you get the mechanical advantage? Or does it make more sense to say, where does it feel easiest, smoothest, lightest? And is your head joining in? Is it also rolling as you press with your foot? Turn your arms. You find your head turning to look at the hand that's rolling up. Don't let it go. Let your brain rest. Make space for a little bit more. And so for the next few moments, we'll let your body rest, but your brain re-engage. And could you imagine doing this movement to the other side? So imagine that it's your left fist that's rolling up and your right fist rolling down. What sensations come with that image? Do you get a sense of invitation to your head? Can you imagine as your arms turn which way your head would like to join in? Is there a little call to one leg to bend and assist with the movement? And then when you have that image in your mind, can you let your body follow that recipe, if you like, that sketch that you've made? And notice how your imaginary version and your experience match up. You need to make little subtle adjustments. So that you can follow the map that you've created in your mind. So your arms are twisting. Right leg presses this time. Head rolls to look at the left hand. And consciously include your eyes so that you have the sense of looking towards your hand. You can do that with your eyes closed. Just make sure that you've invited the eyes to the party as well. Maybe just for comparison, leave your eyes behind as you press and roll and turn your head and see what effect does that have. And then let your eyes look towards your hand. And now bend up your left leg. Find a place for your foot on the floor. And alternate. Press with one foot. The opposite hand rolls up. Press with the other foot. to really sense that connection between your feet and your hands. And there's a pathway all the way through that diagonal direction. The connection with your foot on the floor makes it easier for your hand to move through space. And that your pelvis and spine and ribs and head and eyes are all part of the movement as well. Can you make that lighter and easier? Maybe a little quicker. And so notice, does this movement start with your feet, or is it starting somewhere in the middle now? That really allows the connection between your hand and foot to have some power and some continuity. What are your shoulder blades doing? You feel them changing their contact with the floor? And maybe you can find the connection between the pressing of your right shoulder blade into the floor as your right hand rolls up. And then the left shoulder blade presses as your left hand turns up. And just pause, have a little rest. Have all the excitement drain away. But maybe there's still a spark of curiosity just glowing quietly inside. And so yesterday we explored a little bit the importance of the position of your feet and the idea of having your heels under your knees so that there's a very clear vertical support path through your lower leg. So bend your knees up again. And just notice, were you in that place where I could come and sit on your knee and we would both be safe? Where your pelvis is as light as it can possibly be. And just explore. Have your arms out, the arms alternating, twisting up and down, pressing with your feet. Just, is there any refinement you can make to the position of your feet for this to be optimal? Okay, and can you really feel that connection so that when your foot is pressing into the floor, it allows the turning of many parts. Kind of seems a little bit like an odd idea that pressing down vertically causes a whole lot of other things to rotate. But can you feel that? You feel how one side of your pelvis begins to lift and turn. That begins to turn the bones along your spine, which of course turns your ribs and your sternum. And your sternum's connected to your collarbone, which pushes into your shoulder. And as your shoulder turns, your arm and your hand are able to turn as well. You sense it more easily turning one way than the other. So let it go. Let everything come down. And notice whether you sense any changes or differences in your chest now. Lots of movements have passed through. Maybe some ribs moved more than others did. Is there something different or softer about what you can sense in your chest? Then come back up to sitting again. Arms out at shoulder height and alternating one up, one down. And how would you sit that allows your head to be able to turn and look at the hand that's rolling up? You discovered last time you were sitting that having your legs to one side facilitated the movement in one direction, but now you're alternating. So maybe just bring your arms down for a moment and just think back over some of the lessons you've done over the past days. If you're going to alternate the direction of turning of your arms and the turning of your head, what would your legs need to be doing or want to be doing to support that movement? You're quick. Traveling along the mat. Okay, rest your arms. Come up to standing. Put your right hand on the floor. And flop your knees to the right. Now remember that we talk in terms of direction, not destination. Okay, now some of you will find it easy to go quite a long way to the right. Some of you will find it challenging to even go a little way. The instruction was put your right hand on the floor and flop your knees to the right. And that continues, come up only as far as you need to flop your knees to the left. And you can bring your left hand to the floor to help you with that. Just kind of ringing some bells from lessons that you did, or is just creating total chaos and confusion. It might help if both knees go together. But one of the things I've noticed over these past couple of weeks is that I hear an instruction and I sort of get it and I do something that looks a bit like what I think it's supposed to be. And then I stop for a while and do something else. And the next time I come back to it, the seed has actually sprouted and it just happens. So let's just have the idea that we're sowing a seed, the idea that your legs could perhaps flop left and right, and sit again. Bring your arms out to the side, alternate, rolling one hand up and one hand down. And look what happens. The knees are joining in. The seed has sprouted. Does the idea make more sense? Yeah. You got the GM seed, did you? Okay. So there are people who can actually roll their arms, turn their head, flop their knees and laugh at the same time. So maybe start with the laughter and then see how much of the rest of you follows. There it goes. Direction, not destination. Quality's good. Okay, let it go. Lie down. We'll let the seed just soak a little while longer. It's all about possibilities. And at this stage of the week, you know, we can look around and see our colleagues that are able to turn and flop and move and do all the good stuff. And we know that we've been here and learning, and maybe there's little voices that say, I should be able to do that. and little voices that say, I want to be able to do that. And remember Susan's voice saying that it's about learning. So maybe you're one of the fortunate ones that's in a position where you have things to learn, where the journey goes a little more slowly so that you have time to look at the scenery as you're going. Some people have jumped on the fast train and it's kind of hard to notice the details. So come back up to standing. Arms out, fists are going to roll in opposite directions and alternate. And you're listening for the echo now. So your head and your eyes turn. And it looks to me like most of the pelvises are moving a little bit. So just notice, which way does your pelvis want to turn? And if it's turning that way, which way would it be easier if you were going to flop your legs to the side? You feel the turning and the changing shape through your chest and your ribs. Maybe you can even feel that subtle change in pressure and twist in your ankles. But there is a connection, a pathway all the way through. And then sit down again. Have your knees bent and your feet in front of you at a comfortable distance. Your feet spaced apart so that there is room for you to flop your knees and that they can go just as far as it makes sense for you in the movement. Bring your arms out, alternating the twist. Head and your eyes join in. Okay, so this is about finding the connection, not about getting your knees to the floor. Just feeling how the twist turns all of you. Maybe you have the sense now that you're driving this twist from your arms. Can you drive it from different places in your body? And leave it, lie down again. Bring your arms out to the side. And just once or twice, roll your right fist up, your left fist down. Is that different from when you began this morning? You feel the invitations to move and the connections further through your system. A couple of times, try the opposite direction, left hand up, right hand down. Just scan through. Notice, is there anything that you sense differently? Something perhaps that's joining in, something that doesn't have to join in, perhaps that was doing something before. And then leave it, just rest a moment. Okay, come up to kneeling. And then can you kneel on your left knee and stand your right foot? This requires some organisation to find the place of balance. And then if you were to bring one arm forward, which arm would it make sense to bring forward? How can you find more stability? Is it with the same arm as the leg that's standing, or with the opposite one? And then take your right hand and put it on the floor between your knee and your foot, and bring your left hand up into the air, up vertically. Okay, swap arms. Does one of those feel easier or more stable? And how do you tell stability? Do you feel the holding in your hip joints? Do you feel what you're doing with your breath? You notice that you just haven't fallen down. What's the clue that helps you work out which one's easier? And then leaving your right fist on the floor, can you, and your left up in the air, can you rotate your arms in opposite directions? Right one down, left one up. So it's the same hand down as the foot that's standing on the floor. Change directions of twist. Yep, got that. Change hands. What does your head want to do as you roll in those different directions? And in this strange contorted configuration, can you feel the connection through your head, your neck, your spine, pelvis? What happens if your arms go in the same direction? Can you feel that different folding movement? Remember, we did the arms in the same direction when you were lying on your back yesterday, briefly this morning. Everything folds and opens. Leave it, lie down, have a rest. You feel all wrung out? Like a tea towel? Yep. So notice if there's a particular part of you that feels like it needs to sort of drain away more than another part. That might be a clue that something's perhaps been working a little harder than other bits. And then with that sense of everything being connected through yourself, can you find a way to roll yourself over and come up to standing? Notice what's different in your sensation as your weight comes onto your feet. There are little hints or echoes of movement kind of reverberating through your system as you breathe. And then if you were to take all those connections for a bit of a walk, notice what's changed in your walking, how you sense that differently. And then maybe as you have a cup of tea or a little something, do you sense that as part of you moves, everything else can join in a little bit as well? And so this is now break time.